in the world of ethical innovation and youth empowerment. Elena Sinel. Elena is an award-winning founder and CEO of Teens in AI. It's a globally recognised initiative launched at the United Nations to inspire the next generation to solve real-world problems through ethical and inclusive artificial intelligence. Elena's work bridges AI literacy, global development and social impact, and it's empowering young people across the world. Very impressively, she's also been named one of Computer Weekly's top 50 most influential people in UK tech for 6 consecutive years, and has just added Diversity Initiative of the Year 2025 to her long list of accolades. So Elena is shaping the future by ensuring it includes everyone. So let's give her another warm welcome, please. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm great, yeah. Thank you for driving me into London away from my home space. I'm so used to working from home that coming into London is no longer like a daily thing. So it was great.
I hope you've been enjoying the so many interesting panels we've had already and thoughts. So I've got a few questions to ask you today. Full disclosure, I do have a teenage daughter myself, so I'm very interested in this. She's 13, so just going into those interesting years. But yeah, the first question, you founded Teens in AI to bridge the gap between young people and emerging technologies. What was the spark? What started it all up?
Well, incidentally, it all started when my daughter was 13 as well, or 12, 13. So I walked into a conversation between her teacher and her during one of these parents' evenings. I hope that doesn't happen to you, but what happened to me, and this was in London as well, and basically the conversation was, my daughter is like, oh, I want to take computer science because mommy says, take computer science. And her teacher's like, oh, no, computer science is boring, it's for boys, why would you want to do this? Just take sociology or psychology, then I'll be your mentor and whatnot. And I was just sitting there listening and wondering, am I really hearing what I'm hearing? And I said, Victoria, let me just take you somewhere. And I didn't know what was happening in London at that time, but then I just Googled, it was a Product Hunt hackathon. And in London, I think it was one of the first ones back in 2014. And I said, oh, Victoria, this weekend, let's go to a hackathon. And she's like, a hackathon? What's a hackathon? And I said, I don't know, I think it's going to be something fun. And I said, it's just lots of people getting together and we're just going to build some cool things. So I took her, it was 2 days, and she was the youngest person, and she was in one team, I was in another team, and I could just loved watching my daughter in a team of people she's never met, but communicating, experimenting, going out of the room, asking questions to potential users, that building something that she thought was really cool and meaningful and whatnot. And it just took 2 days to inspire my daughter into tech for good. And then the questions happened afterwards. Oh, when are we going to go next? Another hackathon, and how can I do this and how can I do that? And that's kind of, I felt like a missing thing, this missing puzzle in education system and just in general. So since then, I just took my daughter to a place like this so that somebody like you could inspire my daughter, because of course we then hit the age, just another warning for you, probably about 15, 16 is when your daughter will be like, no, yeah, Mom, you did your PhD and you're doing your AI things, but
my daughter is already bored by my work.
You're not going to see me do Python. That's what my daughter told me.
Exactly the same.
And now my daughter is 23, so she's a bit older. So let me know how your journey goes. But she's a bit older. She now kind of regrets she actually didn't do Python when I kept telling her, hey, do Python. And she's like, no, I'm going to do design thinking, I'm going to do innovation, I'm going to do something else, but just not Python. And every now and then I walk into her room and she's like, 3 laptops, and it's all Python. And I'm like, okay, do you remember those days when you said you didn't do Python? So it's kind of what sparked the thinking around what teenagers I felt needed at that time. And then in 2015, I ran my first hackathon. I said to myself, I will never do a hackathon again because it was exhausting to actually bring so many people together, you know, a room of maybe between 80 to 100 people. And it's 2 days, very intense. But then parents wrote and said, don't know what you've done with my daughter. She just keeps going from one course to another. She's on Code Academy. She started with Python, now she's doing JavaScript. And now she did all her HTML, CSS, and now she's doing this. And I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting. And then another parent said, when is the next one? And then somebody else said, so just, I guess I got hooked. And so to begin with, I didn't know what I was doing. So I had mentors from industry coming in and said, Elena, you should be teaching them business model canvas. And I'm like, what's business model canvas? Google, learn. And I'm like, wow, business model canvas, this is amazing. Let's teach business model canvas. And then somebody else comes along and says, Elena, have you ever heard about systems thinking, design thinking? I said, no, hit me. What is it? Well, and then I started introducing design thinking as a framework. So I think this was one of the initial frameworks we started teaching. And then, of course, AI came into fore in 2017. We ran our first bootcamp just because a teenager said, Elena, we've already done hackathons in VR and tech, and we did apps and everything. What about AI? I said, I know nothing about AI, tell me. And so it was a teenager who kind of inspired me and said, wow, this is amazing. This is not even a technology. This goes beyond a technology. It's not Python, it's not JavaScript, it's a lot more. So I kind of started investigating, and then 2018 came, United Nations found out. They said, oh, Elena, you're teaching AI to kids. How is that even possible? And the rest is history. So 2018 was the launch, as you mentioned, sparked by this very traumatic conversation that I overheard between my daughter and teacher, and